It almost sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? Whatsoever ye shall ask in my name, that will I do. Well, there was a chap who used to pray to the Lord every night. Let me win the 649, Lord. Let me please win the 649. Day in and day out he prayed, but he never won anything. And he said one day, a couple of weeks later, Lord, you said that whatsoever you shall ask in your name, whatsoever I shall ask in your name, that will you do. And I've prayed every night for the last 3 weeks to be able to win the 649. And the voice from heaven says, yes, my son, but you've got to buy a ticket first. Now that certainly sounds like a very good deal, doesn't it? Ask what you want and you'll get it. Be wonderful. We ask for peace. In the other church we have a little worry basket. This goes back to the Indians. They would have this worry basket outside the lodge where they would meet, and people would come and put in messages, hoping that Kichinanitu, the Greek creator, would answer their requests, and their request many times was for peace. So when we started this, because one of my people over there is part of Ojibwe, it was her idea, which is pretty good. They would put the paper in the little basket, the minister would pick it up and go down, and during the prayers for the people, read these. So this way you could do what you wish to have done privately without anybody else knowing. Unless you want to put your name on it and say, this is what I'm praying for so-and-so, which is different. And this is what we were doing. So, but I've noticed over the months that we've been doing that over there, pray for peace, help us to heal the world. I mean, the thoughts are there, but of course one of the things we have to remember, that the healing of the world does not be possible until humankind obeys the Creator. And I'm not talking about any particular denomination. Denominations don't mean a thing. Your relationship between you and God directly. I'm only sort of a conduit. I'm only here to help guide when it's called for. And the thing of it is, God gave us free choice. And the mess is the mess that we make, not God. If we were like puppets on the end of strings, and He was controlling everything, well, the world would be different. But then you would have no free choice, would you? You do as He said. And of course we need to do what He says, now more so than ever. So here is this big deal that you're going to get. Ask whatsoever you will in my name, and I will do it. And the business people of the world will say, yes, that's a real good deal. That's a real good deal. If we can seize the promises of Scripture, we should certainly be able to grasp that one in particular. Leslie Weatherhead tells the story when he was a young lad of 15. His father, of course, was a Methodist minister, and said to him, you pray and God will give you what you want. Well, he had the final examination coming up, and he prayed that he would pass this final exam. I believe in the story he did study, but when the day came, I guess he seized up. It does happen sometimes. You know the answers, but you can't get them. And he failed the exam. And of course he lost his faith. Well, God said this is going to happen, and it didn't happen. So God failed me. So what's the sense in praying? And so his father said, well, he said, did you study for the exam? He said, yes. He said, I knew the answers, but I got everything wrong. He said, well, what you prayed for is not to have God help you pass the test, but to have Him help you have a clear mind and a calmness as you go into this thing. We all face challenges almost every day of our lives. When we listen to the news on CTV and television, and there's the chap in the helicopter who's flying over all the roads, and he says, well, there's an accident here, there's an accident there, there's a bang up. over there, and this lane's been cut short, so you've got to watch where you're going. And it's horrible for those like myself who do not travel the 401. And Thursday I went down because I had this wedding on Friday down there, my niece and her husband to be. And it's a 5-hour journey one way on good weather and safe roads. But I said, Lord, you know, I've got to get down there. Help me get down there. I got there safely. Port Hope and then 401 right through to Brockville. And the day of the wedding, people were coming. This was a farm setting. And the bride and groom were there. I stood under a couple of tractors with buckets. Fortunately, there was nothing in the buckets. I was okay. Then there were paper bells and what have you. Congregation, the audience sat on hay bales. Very, very rustic, so to speak. I expected to see a cow or a calf go wandering across halfway through the service. But the gentleman who owned the property had retired, so there was no problem. They did have chickens though, but they were all cooped up, so there was no problem. And even then there was 2 or 3 guests that got into trouble getting from the 401 to where these people lived in Spencerville because hold up of an accident. You know, they left in plenty of time, they knew where they were going, but they got held up. So this was always the fear. So I was very, very happy when I was able to see my driveway arrive home safely. But it's necessary, I think, for us to examine ourselves as we talk about. I don't know about you, but whenever I go in the car and come back into a garage after I get home, I say, thank you, Lord, I arrived safely. And I think we can pray on the run, so to speak. You don't have to drive.
Thank you.
Yeah. You don't have to close your eyes and sit and say, I'm praying to the Lord. In fact, you better not do that if you're driving the car and you're praying. Pretty good idea to keep your eyes open. So, young Leslie Weatherhead realized that it was how you pray. It's not, I want this. Well, no, you're not going to get this until you have a calmness of mind. As I said, he knew the answers to the questions, but he froze up, as many students do. At the day of an examination, they get all stressed up, and it's easy done. And so when you face something you're not familiar with or you're uncomfortable with, like driving on the 401, it's not a comfort zone for many of us. Lord, guide, help, calm me, enable me to reach my destination, or enable me to ace the examination, or help me have the strength to be able to sit down and compassionately listen to this young person who has screwed up his life and help him sort out the pieces and carry on. I don't give a darn about buildings and all the governmental setup of communities, the governmental setup of committees for this and committees for that, and spending all the time having committees. I've got a story about God creating the heavens and the earth with a committee. I'll get that if I can find it some week. But it's the people, it's you, it's one another, with our uniqueness of story, our uniqueness of life, and the talents that God has given to us, enables us to face the challenges that come. So many times we have to step outside of our so-called comfort zone. And the trouble is that these words are meaningless when they're out of context. This way of prayer is pretty much like putting a coin in a vending machine and getting something out of the machine. I'm thinking of a candy bar. God couldn't run this universe at all if these words were true. Leslie should have prayed for a quiet mind, a calm spirit, so that he could face the challenges of that particular test. And afterwards, when he passed the test a second time when he sat it, as well, I did this. No, me, me. Oh, wait a minute. You had spiritual intervention there that enabled you to do it, so we don't give God the nod only when it suits our purpose, but we are grateful for even the smallest of things. Even traveling this morning, coming over here, As I said, I saw the beauty and the vivacity of the three deer dancing around and playing just like kids on the front lawn of that house. And then suddenly realized the pain when I saw the moose. Life is like that. And you and I have to be alert to what is going on. Whatsoever you shall ask in my name, that will I do. Now the name is something that we have to remember. In the New Testament frequently means power. When you stop and know somebody's name, they believe that they had a power over you. In India, I believe, when a recruit joins the army, he will put his real name in a little container and have it around his wrist or on his shoulder. That's his real name, because he feels that the authorities have a power over him if he gives to them his real name. Well, what about Jacob wrestling with the angel? What is your name? The angel knew Jacob all right, but he wasn't going to tell him who he was, because he felt that he would have power over that angel should he know the name. So name and power seem to be together the same. They symbolize a certain intimacy with an individual that you don't have if you do not know their name. This is why it seems to be so strange at times when you talk to people in the congregation, not a family of people like we are, but in a congregation. And I have served many congregations where so-and-so has come to church, and there have been couples on the other side of the aisle. And who are you talking about? Well, Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so, they usually sit in the second pew from the front on the other side of the aisle. Oh, well, when did they stop coming? 7 years ago. I mean, this is what I mean. They don't make the effort to sort of say, hey, how are you doing? People aren't going to brush you off if you make an attempt to smile and to say, yesterday when I was coming down, I stopped off at Port Hope and had a bite to eat at Timmy's. And there were people of all shades, colours, religions, and what have you there, all lining up. And the line was quite long. In fact, there was a rather heavy-set young lady just ahead of me who was holding the door open, because that's the only way you can get through is when it was open. Usually is, anyway. But she was there, and of course there was a long line ahead of her, and I was behind her, and then the person moved on. I said, okay, so I'll hold the door now while you go ahead. She laughed. And then I believe they were Asian couple come through, and they were going elsewhere, so I called back and said, go ahead, you go ahead. Big smile. If I'd have just glared at them or ignored them completely, just stood there blocking, that wouldn't have been, A, wouldn't have been right, secondly, it wouldn't have been Christian. And this was it. But people were in a good frame of mind. They were good, laughing and talking and chatting together as they made where it is they were going on the 401. But it was a good gathering. So Jacob says to the angel, tell me thy name. If the angel be someone, then the angel knows Jacob's name, as therefore he has power over him. In Mark 5:9, Jesus asked the mental patient who was living among the tombs, remember him? His name. And what did he say? My name is Legion. The name given showed a willingness by the patient for Christ to have that power over him. And of course he did, and he healed him. And I said, Hindu brides even in India will not tell their husbands their true name until after the wedding. I don't know about that though. Oh, so you're my cousin, are you? I didn't know that. So, I don't know whether they still do it now, but they obviously did some time ago. So when we have that power, we mean thy power with Jesus is to be praised. Great is thy name means great is thy power. So that makes us stop to think a little bit. What are we going to do? Do we doubt him simply because he does not do what we think he should do?